Hello, it's the Texas Troublemaker here. Today I'm going to talk to you about the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit against Donald Trump. She claims that she was sexually molested by him. And of course he denies it. What do you think? Did he do it? Or is she just doing this for the money? Maybe for the attention? Maybe trying to sell some books? We're going to get into it and see if we can't break this down and come to some kind of a logical conclusion. And we're going to do it right now.
You're looking for trouble? You come to the right place. You're looking for trouble? Just look right in my face.
Okay, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Subscribers mean everything to a YouTube channel, and I really do appreciate it. Let's get into this. Now, I welcome all opinions. When it comes to politics, I'm a conservative, but I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump. Full disclosure, okay? But again, I welcome all sides, all opinions. Let's just try and keep it relevant to the conversation. I don't want it to turn into name calling. But if you have something that you feel is relevant to this conversation, please put it in the comments. I do read and respond to all the comments on my channel. I believe that the way to kind of get to the bottom of this and figure out who's telling the truth and who's not is to go by history. That's really what we have. We weren't there. No one was there when this happened. There are no witnesses. Okay, all we have is Donald Trump's word versus E. Jean Carroll's word. That being said, which one is lying and which one is telling the truth? So let's look at Donald Trump. I've always been a firm believer that how you live your life is going to really come into play if you're ever accused of doing something. Not to say that a good person cannot go bad and do something bad or crazy or wrong. It can happen, but it's pretty unlikely, I think. Someone who's lived their life and you've stayed in line, you've done what you're supposed to do, you've been respectful to people, you've been compassionate, just an all-around good person. You're not going to live to you're 75 years old and then start molesting women or something, That's crazy. It would be like if someone had accused, what's his name, George Stanley, the minister that just passed away recently, of sexual assault. That would be a tough sell. He was a man of God, very much a man of God. And that's what he taught people. That's how he lived. Donald Trump has been accused by multiple women of sexual assault. I believe there's other trials that are becoming after this one. There were accusers before he became president, and I believe those cases were put off until after he was out of office, once he won the presidency. So yeah, there are several women that have accused him of sexual assault in some form or another. And of course he denies them all. Also, there is that video where we hear Donald Trump himself admitting to sexually assaulting a woman, bragging about it even. So there's that, right? Now, I know Trump supporters. I had a good friend who was a Trump supporter, and we've talked about it. He's since passed away, but he would say, locker room talk, and that's what Trump said. It's just locker room talk. Well, first of all, they weren't in a locker room. But is that kind of talk ever appropriate? Especially for someone who's running for such high office. There's usually an expectation of a certain level of dignity with the office of the President of the United States. So I don't know that type of conversation is ever appropriate. Now, the conversation where he talked about grabbing the woman by her privates, let's say. And I believe it was a married woman he was talking about also. And of course he was married at the time. So that's kind of Donald Trump's history. Now, is Donald Trump known to be a pretty honest guy, a pretty straightforward, truth-telling guy? I was trying to keep a straight face while asking that question seriously. No. Oh my gosh. This man pegs the lie detectors. I mean, when they do fact checks on the things that he says, I don't even know what to say. He's a pathological liar. Can I just be straight with that? Now, does that mean he's guilty in this instance? No, it doesn't. But again, we're kind of breaking things down by the history to try and figure out, is he more likely to be guilty or is he more likely to be not guilty of this? So based on his history, based on the fact that there are several women who have come forward and said that he has sexually molested or assaulted them in some way, then you have to kind of at least consider the fact that where there's smoke, there may be fire. Based on the fact that he himself is on tape admitting and bragging about sexually assaulting a woman, those circumstances will let you know that it is something that he's capable of, okay? We have to admit that, even if you're a Trump supporter, if you have any honesty and integrity, you have to admit that it's a possibility, okay? So let's just leave it there for now. It's a possibility. Now, let's look at E. Jean Carroll, his accuser. Now, the biggest thing that they're using against her is the fact that she did not report this assault at the time when it happened. So why? Why did she not report it when it happened? That happens a lot for sexual assault. It just does. It happens a lot. Women are embarrassed. They know that their name is going to be run through the mud by the defense. You know, if you take someone to court on something like this, the defense is going to try to make you look like a slut. They're going to try to make you look like a whore. They're going to try to make you look like you were asking for it. It was consensual if anything happened, that kind of thing. So women go through that whenever they accuse someone of a sexual crime. So lots of women fail to report those crimes because they just don't want to go through that. They would just rather put it in the past and try and forget about it. So that being the case, why is she bringing it up now? Well, I think that what she has said is the Me Too movement convinced her that it's not a good thing to stay silent about things like this. So that's why she came forward. I mean, another reason could be just because when you know that a man is capable of doing this type of thing, you don't want that man in a position of power again, because, leaders should be held to a certain standard. We all should be held to a certain standard, but leaders especially, I believe, should be held to a higher standard. So if he did this, she's a brave woman for coming forward because obviously he's a powerful man. He has a lot of support. So she's a brave woman for coming forward. I don't think she would do it just to try and get money, right? First of all, it's going to be difficult for her to prove it. But when it comes to a civil trial, it's not like a criminal trial. She doesn't have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. She has to prove it with the preponderance of the evidence, which means 51%. More likely that he probably did do it than he didn't do it, then she'll win the case. So the burden of proof is less than in a criminal trial. So she should have a chance or a better chance of proving it. But even then, it's still not going to be an easy case. It's not going to be a slam dunk. And we're going to find out pretty soon how they ruled. But what do you think? Again, comments are welcome. Try to comment in a way that may be helpful to someone in making a decision about this kind of case. Again, we're not looking for name calling and any kind of bashing. But if you have facts that you feel are relevant and may prove it one way or the other, or if not prove it, at least sway someone's opinion one way or the other, then I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear that. You're not going to be attacked for your opinion on my channel. There is some screening that goes on with comments that are thought to be inappropriate. But if it happens to make it on the channel, I'll remove them. So please try to keep your comments, civil and respectful and pertinent to the subject at hand. All right. So what is my take on this? I mean, it's probably obvious by this point. I think he did it. But again, I'm here to listen to what you think. Your opinions matter as well. Just keep them respectful and relevant to the subject matter, okay? So then the next thing I want to talk about real quickly is, can Donald Trump become president again? What are your thoughts on that? He's the front runner right now as far as Republican Party goes. Will he be nominated by the Republican Party? And then will he go on to beat Joe Biden? Obviously, Joe Biden hasn't like shook up the world as president, There's concerns about his age, but Donald Trump is not that much younger than Joe Biden. Here's the thing that I believe. I don't believe he'll be reelected as president. He has too much going against him. It's not just this sexual assault trial. It's the papers that he was hiding and disrupting that investigation. Then it was the January 6th thing, and then it's all the other women that have accused him of stuff. So all of that's going to kind of come into play. Now, I think that with Donald Trump's firm supporters, they're not going to care. He said it, that he could stand on Main Street, or what did he say, Times Square, and shoot somebody and they would still support him. And that's probably true. But for the rest of the people, they just see all this madness that surrounds him all the time, all through his presidency and since. So I think people are kind of fed up with all of that. So I don't believe he could be reelected as president. I just don't think so. I don't think it would happen. But again, that's my opinion based on what I see, and I welcome your opinion as well. But that's going to be the video for today. So again, please subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell. You'll be notified when I post another video. I do want to hear your opinions, so please comment. But until next time, you take care.
You're looking for trouble? You come to the right place. You're looking for trouble? Just look right in my face.